fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. I'm going to be working on my Huracan Flamingos. I've got everything kitted up. I have a tray from NYX's Notions. I have one of my fancy French pens. And I've got my square multi-placers from We Have a Handle on This, and I am hopefully ready to get going. I have my timer ready to go. I have just a few notes jotted down about what I want to talk about, so let me zoom you guys in here and we'll get started. Okay, so let me pick a color. As you can see, I haven't gotten very far on this canvas yet, but I'm hoping it will go pretty quickly. I'm going to be working on this in between working on my Dreamer designs, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, okay. What symbol did I pull out? This is A, okay. This is a little bit strange working on it since I'm working kind of sideways. And so one of my tricks for working sideways is whenever I'm doing that is I take my symbol and then I will turn it to orient whichever direction I need. So just so I have something to kind of reference when I'm looking at drills to make sure that I'm putting them on the right symbol. So I need to trim the glue dot on this one down or shove it in there a little bit better. Glue dots are always tricky for me. Everyone started out with the minis and everyone said, oh, those are too big, buy the micros. But the micros, I feel like I have to shove 2 or 3 in a tip to get it to work the way I want. So yeah, I end up fussing with them a little bit until I get them where I want them. But then when I get them where I want them, they stay that way forever. I recently just went through and kind of updated all of my pens with the steel tips and the glue dots. So we'll see how that's going to work out for me. This is one of the ones I just loaded with glue dots. So I need to trim it a little bit, but sometimes if I just keep poking it back in there, eventually it'll just wear itself down enough that it'll be how I want. Okay, is that all the A's? I think that's all the A's. Okay. I was going to do all the blues first, but then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do all the pinks because those are more fun, frankly, and I want to. All right. Plus, there's not as many in this section, so it won't take me as long, and then I can just fill and multi-place all the other ones. So, how is everybody doing? I hope everybody is healthy and well. It's been a weird couple of weeks for me. We had spring break and then we came back and I don't know. I can't believe it's been, what, 2 weeks already since then? Time is just flying by. So, yeah, just been a weird week. And there's an A I missed right there. How did I miss that, you guys? Jeez Louise. Have you seen those eye drops that are supposed to help you if you're, older like me and you don't have the greatest eyesight and maybe you need reading glasses for up close stuff? It's supposed to be some kind of prescription eye drops you can take that will help focus your vision so you don't need the reading glasses. See, I bet it won't be covered by insurance because they'd rather just pay for your cheap reading glasses. And of course, it's a prescription, but man, does that sound exciting to not have to wear my reading glasses all the time. I mean, I've gotten used to it, but it would be nice not to have to mess with them. So, okay, let's see. This is T. Okay, let's see. So, let's see. I always start out with a health/life update for us. Things are going okay. you know, my husband had hurt his ankle. It's feeling a little bit better. Well, then he did something to his shoulder. They sent him for an MRI, and he hasn't seen the surgeon yet. His primary doctor told him that just because the MRI said possible tear doesn't necessarily mean he has a tear, doesn't mean he's going to need surgery, but I don't understand how they fix it without surgery, so I guess we'll find out. So he goes to see the surgeon for his consult or whatever about whatever he has to do, whether it's PT or they're going to put him off work for a while or whatever they're going to do, if he actually has to have surgery. So, yeah, I told him he needed to quit breaking himself. So, we're dealing with that. And then my knee is still not great. It's slightly better than it was. My son and I have started going for walks again, so I am feeling better about that, even if we don't walk as far as I used to be able to. We walk about half the distance we used to, and then some days my knee's okay, and some days my knee is sore. Today, when we went for our walk, it was sore before we even started, and I did some stretching and stuff before we went, but I was limping by the time we got most of the way back home, so slowly but surely, hopefully, I will get back to where I need to be. So that's where we are all at health-wise. As far as the rest of life, we got our taxes done and filed. That was, a heart attack and a half. And of course, you know, once you get them filed, then you're still stuck waiting. You know, our returns, we always do ours with TurboTax, and our returns were accepted, which I'm assuming means TurboTax checked it and there were no glaring errors. But, you know, I always hold my breath until we get our money back from the government. So, and it's always fun with my husband's job because I never know from one year to the next what our taxes are going to look like, depending on if he's had any storm work, because some states we have to file, some states we don't. This year, well, last year, I guess technically, he worked in another state for some hurricane work. So we had to file with that state. Luckily, we're getting a refund, a small refund, but a refund nonetheless. So filed that, and then we're going to owe our home state. So that will wait until the very last minute for me to mail our check in. At the very least, I don't usually wait until the last minute. I mean, I'll wait. We're late this year. I think that's part of my anxiety. Our taxes are usually filed by the end of February. So this is late for them to get filed for us. And then with me kind of starting the business last year and, you know, doing the diamond painting channel and all that kind of stuff. And so I didn't really kind of have all my ducks in a row like I should have. And so there was some last minute paperwork scrambling. And so, in fact, I'm still kind of doing paperwork. You know, I kept track on a spreadsheet of what I was spending and all of that, but I didn't really think about, oh, I need to actually, you know, like keep this like a business record. And while I had track of everything, I hadn't like printed out my receipts and stuff like that. So I had to go back and do that. So it's kind of, you know, I mean, I had all the numbers. I just didn't have the receipts to go with the numbers. So I spent a couple of days just printing out like a bunch of Amazon and Etsy receipts. And now I'm trying to compile them all into a binder so that I have everything kind of ready to go and can put it all together with our taxes. And then I need to start doing that for this year. So I'm trying to get a jump start on doing it for this year so I can keep it as I go along instead of, you know, waiting until the end and then trying to recreate everything, because that's just a huge pain. So, yeah, paperwork has been kind of the not fun thing I've been doing at my house lately, and also in addition to all of our taxes and things, um, we were filing our, well, at least filling out our paperwork for our move to Canada. And so my husband and I both had to send off for some certificates and things, our marriage certificate and some other things. And I was laughing because his came all the way from Canada and got here before mine that were mailed to me from my home state, from our state capital. So, yeah, all governments are slow. So, but I have them now, so we can finish up, hopefully, here in the next week or so, finish up our paperwork and get it done. It's one of those things where, it seems pretty simple, but I'm just afraid of making some kind of mistake. Like one of the forms that I have to fill out is for me as what they call the principal applicant. But then because my son is going with us, they want him to fill out his own version of this form. But I don't know where to put his name because he's not the principal applicant. I am, and I can't change that. So there's another place on the form for me to put his name, but I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to do or not. So we've got to do a little bit more digging just to answer a couple more questions so we can finish filling out a couple of forms. And then I have other paperwork that I still need to print out. We got our certificates, so we've got that. We've got our FBI certificates. We've got our passport photos taken. Um, but I've got to print out a bunch of photographs of our wedding because we got married here in the States and his family couldn't afford to fly down here to attend. We did live stream it so that they could, watch it virtually, but they didn't attend and physically. And because they didn't attend physically, we have to provide all of these photographs of the ceremony. I don't know, I guess to prove there was one. I don't know why that's all necessary when we have a license, but right, I don't get to question it. I just have to do it. It's like I always tell my kids, even if it doesn't make any sense, what is life? A bunch of hoops that you have to jump through to get what you want. Which seems kind of dumb because, lots of people get to just pay to not have to jump through these hoops, but not us. So, anyway, oh my gosh, you guys, I hope you can't hear my stomach growling. We went to our favorite barbecue place for lunch and it was so good, but I'm late in filming this, later than I want to be, because once I film it, I still have to edit it and upload it. And invariably, when I have to do this late, YouTube will be a pain in the you know what, and it will take forever to upload. So, anyway, we ate at our favorite barbecue place, and my stomach is still grumbling, so I hope you can't hear that. It was really good. I don't know why it's grumbling. Okay. Oops, that didn't stick. So let's see. Okay, so that's my life/health/whatever update. I've just kind of been all over the place this week with all of our paperwork and everything else. So super excited because I finished my Chuck Along Vibrant Italy. So I will be doing the D-kit of that, and it will be a slightly different D-kit because that kit I am hoping is going to have some of the colors that I need for my mermaid heaven and earth designs that I'm kitting up. So I need to, well, basically what I'm going to do when I dekit it is I'm going to dekit into my heaven and earth designs, check numbers and codes and all of that, and see if there's any in there that I can use in the mermaid so that I can just dekit directly into, so it's kind of a dekit into a kit up, which is a little strange, but that saves me shifting time later. And let me see, do I have any more of these little check marks hanging around anywhere else? Doesn't look like it. So I'm going to be dekitting that one. And then I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with Vibrant Italy. I love the photo and I kind of want to frame it and hang it up, but it's so big. Like it's almost as big as my Diana. And I think the frame for that one cost me almost $120. And I'm running out of wall space. Now, I originally had thought that I would take over my daughter's old bedroom because, well, my husband was going to be in there with all his 3D printing, and then he decided that's what he wasn't going to do. And he has been trying to 3D print out in our great room downstairs. However, he's not having a lot of luck with our resin printer. All the prints keep failing, and everything we've read, we think that it's because it's not warm enough down there. It's in the basement, so it's kind of a cool temperature anyway. And because it's in that big room, it just doesn't get very warm, even if we run our space heater, even if he turns up the thermostat, it just doesn't seem to get warm enough. And so we're back to what was our original intention, or at least mine, was for him to take that over, have his computer in there, and the 3D printer's in there. It's a small room, so he could shut the door. You know, it would hopefully stay warmer with the door closed, and or he could put the small heater in there and shut the door, and it would be warm enough in there that he would have a little bit more success with some of these resin prints he's trying to do. He and my son have decided that they're going to try and figure out how to use Blender, which, whew, more power to them. I tried Blender once upon a time several years ago. Now, I've used Photoshop for many years, and I know a lot of the shortcuts. I'm comfortable in Photoshop. I will say when they went to their subscription, I decided to go the GIMP route because GIMP is free and it does a lot of the same stuff. I recently downloaded it because when we switched over to my Mac from my PC, my Photoshop version didn't work anymore because it was Windows, not Mac. And so I downloaded GIMP, and I gotta admit, I hate it. I hate, I've used Photoshop for so long, all the shortcuts are just kind of ingrained and nothing works the way that I think it should in GIMP. And while I know it's a matter of just me learning something else, it just ends up frustrating me more often than not. And so I just don't really use it. So sadly, I'm considering a subscription to Adobe. Maybe after we make our move to Canada. So actually, I have a couple of things that I'm considering subscribing to, and one of those is Canva. I use Canva to make all of my thumbnails and my Instagrams for my YouTube channel. And if I went to the paid version, the subscription version, I think I could link all of my stuff to it, and it would basically, I could schedule and post everything from there, which would save me a lot of time, and I wouldn't have to fuss with things on my phone as much as I do now. But I just haven't pulled the trigger on it because it was a recurring expense that I didn't want to do. But maybe that's just me being silly and I should do it. Like I resisted for a long time doing anything, shipping from my house for shipping. And now that I've done it, good gravy, why didn't I do it before? It saves me money and it doesn't really cost me anything. So the one I'm using, there's not a subscription for, so that's why it doesn't really cost me anything. But so I'm thinking about Canva. If any of you out there use Canva, do you like it? Do you use it for scheduling social media posts? Is it good? Should I take that leap? Because here's the other thing I'm struggling with is, speaking of social media. So you guys know, I have talked about on the channel before, I am planning on hosting an event in June, DP for Pets 2022. So I'm trying to figure out how best to get the word out there. Is it better to put it on Facebook? Is it better to put it on Instagram? Do I just put it on both? And why I'm struggling is this. I like Instagram. I much prefer Instagram and I spend way more time on it. One, because it's a lot more visual. Most of the time it's just pictures I scroll through, double tap to like, and I move on. I do try to leave comments, but for the most part, it's a lot of, scrolling because that's what social media is. Uh, I do have a Facebook page and I do have a Facebook group. However, I've not really done a whole lot with them because I don't really know what to do with them. I'm not a big Facebook person, so I probably don't get on it nearly as much as I should. I do belong to groups, but more often than not, I don't really like scroll my Facebook feed. And part of the reason for that is because I don't ever see anything that I feel like is relevant. Like, if I follow people, I swear, I think I see more ads on Facebook than I do actual posts. And I know from the other side of it, when I'm posting things like to my page, if I don't boost it, which basically means if I don't pay Facebook to make it an ad, then hardly anyone sees it. Unless you happen to just be right there when I'm posting it and it pops up as you're on your feed, hardly anyone sees it. So then it's like, well, is it worth it? So that's a question too. Is it worth it to have a Facebook page or should I just have a Facebook group? Um, Also, I probably won't get rid of the page just because I'm also leaning towards at some point setting up some kind of small store for like logbooks and stickers and just, various things that I've made myself to kind of make my diamond painting life easier that I think maybe other people would appreciate. So I wouldn't just out and out get rid of it, but I don't know how helpful it actually is for me to get the word out there. So I'm wondering if it would be better to just use the group. However, my group isn't that big, and I don't really know the best way to go about making it bigger. You know what I mean? So I guess let me know if you're in the group, what am I not doing that you would like to see? If you're not in the group, why aren't you? Please join. And then tell me what you would like to see because I, again, freely admit, I don't Facebook a lot. And so, like, I feel like the group would be better because it would be more interactive, but it is a private group. And so, and I can't change that now. It's one of those things, Facebook doesn't tell you until after you set it up. I could have started out public and then gone private, but you can't start out private and then go public. So, and at this point, I don't want to start all over. So, yeah, I need help. Maybe I need a social media manager. Not like I can afford to pay one for that, but someone who's better at Facebook than me. And I do feel like I have a pretty good handle on Instagram, at least for my purposes now. There's still stuff I don't understand how to do, like how people get multiple pages on their stories. And I mean, I know how you get multiple pages, but just seem very, I don't know. Like I saw one the other day, and she must have had 15 different images in her story. That seems one crazy, but and I don't understand how you go back because sometimes I miss something because it's too quick and I try to go back and it doesn't always, like, it'll take me to the previous person's story and not the previous little clip of the story. Anyway, so clearly social media is not my forte necessarily. So since it's not my forte, you know, help a girl out. What do I do here? Um, I mean, it's not the end of the world if not everybody participates in the event. That's not the point. I would just like to have a nice, diamond painting community. And, is Facebook not the place to do it? I mean, I'm not going to open an Etsy shop. I've seen and heard too many things about Etsy and some of their business practices that I just, nah. I had one for a while for some other things, and yeah, I'm just not anxious to get back into that. So I don't see myself opening an Etsy shop. If I open anything, it will be likely a small my own website with like Shopify or something like that. Anyway, so what's the best way to, or I guess not what's the best way, what's your preferred way? Leave me a comment down below. What's your preferred way to interact in the diamond painting community? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it Facebook pages? Is it Facebook groups? What's the difference? How can I make mine better? Um, because I want this to be, a resource for everyone. And I include myself in that everyone. I mean, I'm happy to be a resource for people, but I don't know everything, at least not yet. And um, so, anything I can do to help people out, I would love to do. So, and I feel like the more we share our knowledge, the better everything is. Like, for instance, someone just shared with me, thank you, Jess, that um, Target sells Elizabeth Ward trays and they're currently on sale. So, guess who's going to blow her budget again and go buy some more Elizabeth Ward trays because I love them and they're cheaper than I can even get them on Amazon, and I can have them shipped straight to my house from Target just like I do everything else. So, yeah. Um, I just sometimes I don't think to look elsewhere, Guys, I keep looking to see if there's another one of those weird bugs crawling on my tray, like on my case, like there was. I have no idea where that bug came from, but ugh. Anyway, and so yeah, I just feel like, we want to be a resource. I asked everybody in the last video to kind of give me recommendations for good diamond painting companies, and thank you so much to everybody who did. Several of them I had heard of before, but I hadn't checked out. There were a couple I'd never heard of before. I did, several of you mentioned Uniquely Down Under. I've heard of that one. I've looked at it several times. I've almost ordered some J walls from her, but I just hadn't done it yet. Partly because I don't know what shipping is like from Australia, so um, I just hadn't done it yet. And I have a Josephine wall from Diamond Painting Deutschland I haven't finished yet, so I'm hesitant to buy any more, really big ones like that until I finish that one. And so, mentioned Uniquely Down Under. Somebody mentioned Prism, which is in the UK, and there was another one in the UK called Diamond Art Studio, I think. Had heard of both of those. Again, same thing, because they're in the UK and I don't know what international shipping is like. I hadn't ordered anything from them. I've been looking, I was looking at some Oraloa ones, but the one that I want from Oraloa is only in stock in rounds and I want it in squares, which I guess it doesn't matter. I've never really been picky about that before, but we'll see. I haven't wanted it. I just wanted to do something colorful and I liked that particular canvas. Although there is one that is a Canadian one that I really want, but it's sold out. So that's the bane of my existence. Every time I find one I really, really want, it's sold out. Anyway, so several of you mentioned that one. Somebody mentioned Create, Love, Share, which is another one. I've actually heard of them, but I didn't realize that they sold diamond paintings, I guess. I remember looking at some of their stuff, not their diamond paintings, but I remember seeing some stuff about them when I was researching resin drills and stuff. So I must have ended up on like their frequently asked questions or something page, is what I'm assuming. But I didn't realize they sold diamond paintings, so I need to check them out. And then someone, I think it was Ruth, mentioned that there's a place called Lola Rose that has licensed artwork. And that was a new one for me. I had not heard of them, so I went and checked them out. They do a lot of like It is licensed artwork, but it's all like stock photo. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's not particular artist necessarily, or at least it wasn't when I looked. Um, didn't see anything that I particularly wanted to do. I did see canvases that I thought a lot of people would like, just not anything that really made me want to instantly buy it. So definitely adding them to my list to keep an eye on. And then someone suggested, because I was trying to figure out what to do for my Big 10 diamond painting companies, because I kind of wanted to stick to what most people would consider premier diamond painting companies. And I don't know. I guess maybe I should have defined what premier was a little bit better. Like, what is a premier diamond painting company in your mind? What makes it premier? Is it the reputation? Is it the strictly the quality? Is it the reviews? Is it all of that together? Is it that you've used that company before and you're comfortable with them? Uh, you know, because let's face it, all of us have had a bad experience with somebody at some point. And, if your bad experience is your first experience with that company, you may be reluctant to try them again. So I know I'm struggling right now with my Dreamer designs. And the reason I'm struggling is it's just so different. I mean, some of the differences I like. The canvas itself is a little bit different. How they put the glue on the canvas, where the edges are and that kind of thing is a little bit different. That I like. Their drills seem to be really high quality. They're not like trashy. They're very sparkly. They go nicely on the canvas, but I don't know. I'm doing a round kit, and I don't know if it's just lately that I've been doing so many squares that is what's making it feel off to me. But I swear, it's almost like there's their rounds are smaller than I'm used to, which makes no sense. I mean, they shouldn't be smaller than squares. I suppose they could be. I didn't measure them, but even if they were, like that just doesn't make any sense. Why? And I can't quite figure out what it is that is a little bit off about the canvas. I mean, I'm enjoying doing it. It's turning out really well. Like I said, the drills are great. I love the colors. It's just like, I don't know if it's me. Like I said, I don't know if it's because I've been doing squares and there's just something about it because that one is rounds. But I did Alice in rounds and it was so nice because the rounds usually go much faster. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I've abandoned that one a couple of times. I don't know if that's because it was just one I was, how sometimes you get something and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. And then you open it and you're like, hmm, maybe this isn't as great as I thought it was going to be. So I don't know. And again, this is nothing against Dreamer Designs. I think it's all me. I just haven't figured out what it is that's giving me the issues. I'm going to finish it because I've started it. So I have to finish it. But it may take me a while. So, anyway, licensed diamond painting companies, what makes a premier company? I think most people would say, high quality resin drills. For me, is if it is or isn't resin isn't a huge deal as long as the drills are really good quality. I mean, I know a lot of people love DIY Moonshop and their drills are not resin. So, at least from what I remember, they're not resin. They're like some kind of acrylic blend. I don't know if that blend includes resin. I don't know. But anyway, they're not fully resin. So, and I just saw somebody, speaking of drills, the other day doing a comparison of Diamond Art Club's pre-change kits, which a lot of mine are, versus, when they made the changeover to the new drill manufacturer and the difference in sparkle. Now, I don't know how fair of a comparison it was because I think one was very confetti heavy and the other one was like big color blocks. So I don't, part of me thinks that maybe that had something to do with it. But the new ones did appear to be much more sparkly, so I'm kind of curious to, pull one of the newer ones out of my stash and do that. Although, another part of me is like, you need to work on all those old ones that you've bought and get them out of the way first. Isn't that how inventory works? First in, first out? At least I feel like that's how my inventory should work, but anyway. So premier diamond painting companies, what makes somebody premier? For me, quality and a licensing. I think those are my two things. Like I can forgive canvas quality. I don't mind double-sided adhesive versus poured glue. Um, I want the drills to be good quality. I want the artwork, preferably to be licensed. I know there's a lot of people that do like budget kits. For me, licensing is a big deal because I have it on the channel, and if I show something that I've not licensed or that somebody else hasn't licensed, then YouTube can shut me down, which I don't want. So I have to be very careful. If I was just a consumer, I could buy whatever I wanted and have. Like I did an Avengers diamond painting back when I was very first starting out to see if I liked it. I bought it for my nephew because I knew that he would love it, and he did. But I would never be able to, at least at this point, show something like that on my channel because it would come from someplace that it didn't license it. So anyway, all of that, goodness, all of those tangents to basically say someone mentioned that I could use for my Big 10. Since the 10th spot is still open, I could use the diamond painting shop because she does legally license her artwork. Her drills are not resin, but they are very high quality acrylic. And I have that beautiful Art Nouveau Muka that I would love to have an excuse to do. And honestly, it had never crossed my mind to include that one. I don't know why, but now I'm seriously considering it because that would give me some kind of incentive to finish that one. And then I would hang that one up if it turns out as good as I think it will. So I may do that. I may do that as my number 10 for the Big 10, but we'll see. Let's see. How long have I been blathering? I finished one flamingo foot almost. So there's a lot of Z's in this. Get all these done, and then I can use we have a handle on this multi-placer to go in and multi-place a bunch of this that's not confetti. There's going to be a lot of this color, a lot of these kind of turquoisey colors because this background is all this color, but I can't wait to see how this turns out. Like I said, I don't know why I'm on such a flamingo kick lately, but I am. So super, super excited to see how this one is going to turn out. Plus, it's pretty small, so I'm hoping I can work on it and my Dreamer designs. And then, weirdly, I'm probably going to kit up a third one and see how it goes. I've got a few things I need to put away, and then I'm going to make my husband figure out whether he's moving into my daughter's old room or not, because if he is, then I need to figure out what I'm doing with the diamond painting stuff that's currently in there. And if he isn't, then I may take it over and just like start hanging diamond paintings on the walls and such and make it like a little kind of secondary craft room. Right now, my office / craft room is where I film WIP and chats and stuff. Really big canvases get worked out on my dining room table. And then I also have a drafting table out in my living room because I work on my diamond paintings at night a lot. And, I don't get to see my husband a lot during the week because he works such long hours. So I diamond paint in the living room at my drafting table while he watches TV, so that, we're at least in the same room, even if we're not necessarily, you know, talking to each other or whatever. It's certainly, we have the option to talk to each other if we're at least in the same room versus, if I was downstairs, stuck in a bedroom downstairs crafting while he's up here doing whatever. We watch a lot of shows. He'll sit on the couch and be looking at cars or electronics on his iPad, and I will be either at my drafting table or at the dining room table diamond painting while we watch, an RPG show, or he has a lot of streaming shows that he watches, or we'll watch my dead people shows, as he likes to call them, or I'll listen to podcasts or whatever. But it just lets us spend a little bit of time together. So I don't always like to be stuck, in the craft room, in my office when I'm working on things. So that's why the drafting table is out in the living room. I was debating whether or not I wanted to do like a craft room tour, but it would kind of end up being more like a house tour because at least two rooms, maybe three, because like I said, my drafting table where I do a lot of diamond painting is out in the living room, and then of course in here is the office / craft room. So I have all my filming stuff is in here, all of my diamond paintings, my inventory, my stash is in here, a lot of my various, tools for diamond painting, my pens, my storage, my bottle cases, and, whatever other storage I've got, all of that is in here as well. And so, yeah. So, uh, and then I would have to add a third room if I had to do it downstairs. Okay, I'm going to stop it there, I think. And call it good. I still have some Z's to do, but I'm going to call it good for there. I've talked until I need to go get a drink. So I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, guys, like I said, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for joining me and hanging out with me today. I'm going to zoom you back out a little bit so you can see what I've done here. And yeah, I can see a little flamingo foot, and I can see the start of a little flamingo beak. So I'm happy with that. Some palm fronds are starting to be visible. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. Sorry, my mind is kind of all over the place. This was a kind of stream of consciousness video. So thanks for hanging in there with me. As always, before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. Thanks for watching, guys.